Hello, darling. Welcome to your reading. Lovely to see you again. Today, we're going to be tapping into a very emotional energy. As you know, we use clarifiers at the beginning of my readings to help us see what energies are influencing at the moment and to give us extra confirmation. First of all, we'll start off with the moon. The moon is the element of water, the zodiac Pisces, and the planet Neptune. You have to be very careful with the Neptune energy because it can cause a lot of misunderstandings and confusions and illusions. You understand? Because the universe works in layers. If that person is not tapped into a certain layer, Neptune can come in and cause that static. Our next card is the death card here, represented by Santa Muerte, right? And the element is water again, zodiac Scorpio, and the planet Pluto. And then we have the Four of Cups, element water, zodiac sign Cancer, and the planet is the moon. A lot of emotions, okay? I'm getting the sense that as the year unfolds, because for the next 2 years, especially Mercury is going to be retrograde in the water signs, it's not going to be easy for people to escape their emotions, okay? And this is what we're starting to see. Things are going to be laid bare because one thing about those water signs, they're going to say what needs to be said, okay? Let's get into your reading, my love. I think what's important for you right now is to hold your emotional center, okay? Be the compass to your inner world. Don't allow anyone to string you along or try to trap you in a cycle where you need outside validation, all right? Because I feel this pulling energy in my heart, like my heartstrings, you know, when it's like a little sore. So be ready for people to come in to try and pull on your heartstrings, okay? But listen, remember that you've done the work and most of the time you did it without help. And sometimes we have to allow the people we love to grow the hard way because sometimes that's the only way they learn. Okay, let's see what the first card is. We've got the Nine of Wands. I just heard typical, and the Four of Wands. You see, this person's reflecting on their indecisions or choices that were made that were not truly aligned with this person's heart, okay? Because you've met them at a point where you're evolved and you are not willing to conform to societal norms or just willing to succumb to peer pressure, but this person was different. That's why sometimes it felt like they're a little envious towards you, or they're intentionally trying to, you know, cause a mess in your connection. It wasn't intentional, but it was more of like a subconscious behavior where someone's been behaving in a certain way for a very long time. And also, it was one of those things where the universe brings a cycle in to ask a person, are you sure you're ready to evolve? Let's see then. Because sometimes the universe has to put them in a scenario where it can be like, you see why some of your prayers, well, most of your prayers are unanswered because you were incredibly unserious. You get what I'm saying? So by this person not approaching you in the right energy throughout your connection, or if they came in as if they wanted to move things in the right direction, but then as time went on, you started to see some cracks in their foundation, they were not being real with themselves completely. They had one foot in your connection and one foot outside in them streets, baby. Okay? But those devilish energies definitely taught them a lesson and are still teaching them a lesson. They cannot thrive in this area until they make things right. And when I mean make things right, I mean take aligned actions to offer you an apology, to offer you resolution or clarity. It doesn't mean it's going to change the path of learning this person's going to be on. It just means like the universe sometimes will take someone on a path of redemption. You know what I mean? But this person is going to be in the trenches for a very long time. And I mean years. You get what I mean? Because they just keep choosing to fall into these worthless cycles that really give them nothing back. God, we channeled all of that on 2 cards. There's a lot to say. There's a lot to say. What are our next cards? Five of Wands, Knight of Wands. See, this person's too focused on winning. Okay? So it's like they want an incentive to win. So that's why when you try to move on, you feel their energy the most. Because they're still focused on immature energy. You know what I mean? There's no way you can be in a healthy, stable relationship if you just always focus on winning. Because you're just super competitive. For what reason are you being competitive? Because that becomes a really bad habit that can ruin a lot of your personal relationships. This person, they're just so stubborn. They're just so, it's like so hard-headed. For what? For what? What is it benefiting you with? Do you know what I mean? Tough lessons ahead of this person. I can't even feel sorry for them because this is the remedy that's going to actually help them eventually grow. But they might turn out to be one of those people, if they don't take the opportunity now of alignment, they might turn out to be one of those people you just see wandering alone. And you can see that they've evolved, but they probably evolved too late and lost a lot of great people in their lives. And the universe is like, yeah, you've evolved, great. Now be a decent person. It doesn't mean I'm going to trust you again with a beautiful divine being so you can tear them apart. You know what I mean? Obviously, we always like to have faith in people's evolution, but at the end of the day, there's a boundary to that. The opportunity was presented, and it is up to that person to truly maximize that opportunity and go for the win in the right sense, right? Putting in the right level of work, reciprocity, respecting you as a partner, you know, respecting what you're building, not sharing their bodies with random people or randoms. Okay, our next two cards we have is the Knight of Pentacles and the Three of Pentacles. It's going to take a very long time. A very long time for this person to learn their lesson. If I was them, I would get a clue and get a clue very quickly. Because they're running out of opportunities with the universe. And I'm talking about someone who chooses to be extremely toxic. They kind of want an easy way in life, an easy ride. But it's like they have to learn, like, please, puppy. Mommy, that's not how life works. Okay. Let's get some love oracles. Because it's hard to see a reading like this. It's hard. Because there's a part of you that still has faith. Angel number 757 on the timer. But then, you know, like, my faith has a boundary. Life will go on. Time will heal wounds. It's just like this person, are they willing to learn to live with the choice to be mediocre in their personal life, in their work, in everything? Because there ain't no way the universe is going to allow anyone to hold you back. Okay? No matter how much you love them. Because your life is just way too important for that. Let's clarify the Nine of Wands. We have true love. This is a romance of a lifetime. Because there's a duality to this reading. There's great love, but also great trials and tribulations. Because when you don't respect alignment, you're going to fuck around and find out. We have attraction. You attract romantic love while enjoying this moment fully. And that's clarifying the Four of Wands. And the Four of Wands is telling me that this person knew the weight of this connection. But people like to gamble with things that you're not supposed to gamble with. And you're going to end up in those trenches, babe. You're going to end up on Skid Row. Okay? And not because you fell into a bad situation, because you made bad choices. You know? And it's so sad. Five of Wands is clarified by pay attention to red flags. The signs are cautioning you. And it's like this person just wants to fight anything good that comes into your life, okay? Post-breakup abuse is real. Also, like, if you feel like this person's constantly trying to interfere with you moving forward or moving on. Because moving on doesn't necessarily mean you don't love someone. It just means like you're making different choices and the person's choices are not necessarily aligned with where you want to go. We have the Knight of Wands is clarified by past life relationship. You have known each other before. That's why there was so much passion between you. The recognition was there. It's just this dum-dum over here likes to play games. Games you're going to have to learn very hard not to play. The Knight of Pentacles is clarified by let your friends help you. Ask for and accept support from others. This is more of like align with the right people so you can make the right decisions. Do you know what I mean? I don't think this person's surrounded by the right energies, and it's all their fault. Look, we're adults. At some point, that shit gets old. It gets very old real quick. Three of Pentacles, especially if you're someone who prioritizes security, you're not going to stick around for someone who doesn't value security in their lives. You know what I mean? Because sexual discipline is security. You know, investing in yourself and your growth is security. Three of Pentacles is clarified by make the effort. Great love is worth taking the steps you're guided to. Very obvious. You're guided to take. This person has to get the courage to choose what is right for them, my love. Okay? Angel number 113 and 114 to end your reading, and I shall see you in the next one.